Hey, folks, welcome to the monthly coaching call, the PMC coaching call. We're all going to kind of tag team this here. I know Chris is out of town right now. He is having an absolutely wonderful time in New York City. And so he's going to be, he'll be back tonight and then he flies out again. So, because, that's kind of how he rolls. So I think I was looking at some pictures from the Plaza Hotel where he's staying at. And I have a mild amount of sympathy for him being out and not being able to be here, but not a huge amount. It looks like a beautiful place, but it is really, really nice that he has the ability to actually, go out and spend some time with the family and actually get a proper vacation, which I don't think I've actually seen him take one in the 6 years I've been working with him. So yeah. Anyway, so we're going to pitch hit here for you. So it's going to be Snaggy and I know Shauna's getting on at some point tonight too. The person we have coming on tonight though is Scott Reeb of Reeb Law, one of the lawyers, part of our legal team. What they do is a lot of our business law, like just day-to-day general law. If something happens or we need a contract or we need an agreement somewhere, form an entity, stuff like that. They're the ones who are really in charge of that part of our legal team. So we also have another lawyer we use for our SEC, the regulation side of things. But Reeb Law is our general one. Guys are really, really good. They turn around stuff really quickly for us. Absolutely a great law firm. So we wanted to make sure we brought them on today so they could have a bit of a chat for you and we can answer your questions. Because that's one of the biggest parts of what you guys do on Private Money Club is making sure that, the legal part is the part we never really want to deal with, but, unfortunately we kind of have to deal with it. So so they're going to be doing that tonight for us. So when he gets on, we're going to start him off with it. But before he gets on, before we get kicked off here, I do want to start off with a little bit of an update on what's going on as far as Private Money Club is concerned. The current site, we had a couple of updates. We've got badges on now, and that's our latest thing. We're going to be putting some certification courses on this current version. If you ever hear us refer to version 2.0, that's the current version of Private Money Club, what is currently active. So in the back end, we're dealing with a couple of things. There's some site performance issues, those that have gotten like the bad gateway errors. We're working on those in the background. We got a solution for it. Just going to be a little bit before we roll them out. So let you guys know we have not forgotten about you as far as that's concerned. But the other part is we're also redoing all of Private Money Club. For the past almost 4 months, we've been working with another developer just to go through and work through every little piece of exactly what the new site's going to look like. And so we're looking at probably about 8 months or so before the new site's rolled out. It's a complete rebuild from the ground up. And so it is going to take us a little while to get it up and going, but you're going to start seeing some of those bits and pieces of, the new and improved PMC 3.0 coming out here in the next kind of 8 months or so. So you'll see us do it. You'll see us talk about it. What we just got done with is we draw out all the pretty pictures and how it's going to look and what's going to happen. And then we figure out how we're going to actually make it work. And that's the step we're on right now, is figuring out how we're going to make it work. So absolute ground up. So you saw some of this. If you folks were at the experience, if you're at the last Money Tank in Salt Lake City, you saw a little bit of what we were doing. Chris and I have gone through a couple of demonstrations on it, but it's going to be there's a lot more in the background that we're doing to just make it a lot more stable and a lot better. And we wanted to make sure you guys have the greatest experience. And really, we're kind of taking a look at what you guys wanted and some feedback that I get. Every single ticket that's put in through support, I see. So it just gives me an idea for what's in the back of, what's going on in your minds, what you guys need. And so we wanted to address some of those issues as well as make this a much more stable site for you. So some of the major portions that we're doing, we're completely redoing messaging. So ground up, totally redoing messaging. It's going to be a lot more seamless experience. Some of the same functionality where I can have a deal specific. So I can either do a group chat with a subject on it where I can remove people and add people. There's also going to be like messaging for specific deals as well. So just another thing that we're doing, but it's just going to be a much smoother experience. We're redoing deals themselves. Deals are going to be a little bit different when we roll it out. Public forum is going to look a lot more like Facebook. We have 5 different post types, things like, introduce yourself. Let me ask for recommendations. The recommendations are location specific. So if I needed a real estate lawyer in Austin, Texas, I can find one. So that's something that can, help you guys out too. So just lots of new things that we're coming up with, lots of new things we're trying. Here in the next week or so, we're gonna drop our certification courses. The borrower certification is going to be the first one. So that one's going to drop towards the end of next week. So it's going to complement the current coaching that we have right now. So that'll be able to, so that way you guys have a good choice of what you'd like to do as far as education from the education side of Private Money Club. If you guys have any suggestions, because that's one of the things that I'm really trying to do, is to take over or just kind of take the current learn section we have and just build it out to something that really gives courses specific to what you want. So, I mean, I think at some point I'm going to do a course on like basics of contract law, and have a lawyer come in and kind of help us write those courses. But if there's anything that you folks want, like a specific piece of knowledge that you folks want to see in the courses, let me know. You can email me at andrew@privatemoneyclub.com. And we can go from there and kind of, just get some input on what you'd like. We'll put it onto our list of things. We're going to have a borrower certification and a lender certification, just a basic certification course that you can do. But we want to build this on. We really want to make this. We want to make this all about the education and putting you guys back in control of your money, and education is a huge part of that. So some of the updates on Private Money Club, a couple of things that are kind of going on here and what we've been working on. So as far as this evening, I am looking for Scott. I don't see him quite yet. I do see things in the notes, and Bob, I know Bob will absolutely drop some knowledge on us if we need to, if you're up for it, Bob. But he always has something really fun to say. But I guess the first thing I'd like to open this up to is, guys, questions. What questions, any questions you guys have before we start? Anything on your mind? Bueller? Oh, man. Any cool projects you're working on? Anything that's not quite going well and you want to kind of help group think through it? What do you guys do? What do you got?
I got a question, but it's not related to this. It's related to a past one.
Oh, to a past guest?
Yes.
Shoot, let's give it a shot.
Throw it out there. If anybody remembers, there was a woman that presented, and I can't find the video. I wanted to rewatch it, and it's regarding, she converted a single family residence into she made it a shared area for the kitchen and the living room, and then made it one family lived on one side and converted it from single family, and now it went from being able to host 4 people to 8 people. Does anybody remember that one?
I don't remember that one off the top of my head, but it's called co-housing, and
Co-housing,
it's not
that's
big
the word,
here.
right?
Yeah, it's not big here in the US, but it's really, really big over in Europe. Really interesting concept where you have your own separate private space, but communal spaces like a living room and a dining room and a kitchen. Sometimes you'll communally cook as well. Interesting thing. Let's go take a look at it and see if we can find that for you. We'll take a look and see if we can find that for you.
I think that was it, pad split.
I think it was what? I'm sorry?
I don't remember. Somebody just posted pad split. Maybe I don't remember the woman that did it, but if anybody remembers it, just text me or pop me a message.
The other thing as well, if you remember what time it was, if you go onto Private Money Club, I'll do this here for you so you can see it. Not a lot of people know that these are posted, and so while I'm here kind of stalling, I'll show you guys how to actually find all of these past things. So just give me 1 second to clear up my desktop here. There we go. All right, so I'm going to share my screen here, and we're going to go take a look at it.
And Andrew, while you're sharing your screen, this is David and Dorothy. Just wanted to let you know that we signed up for Noah's accelerator course, and we're just rocking and rolling. He's doing a great job.
Awesome. I'm really, really happy to hear that. I know that's one of the, like I said at the beginning of the call, that's one of the things we really, really wanted to do was to go and to make education is really a larger part of it. So that's one of the first parts is the coaching programs. I'm really happy you're hearing it. I know Noah's on tonight. He's on here. So
I know
he has heard your feedback. He is currently moving though. So he's at that point where, he's a little preoccupied. But he is floating around. So yeah, glad you could hear that from you guys.
We bought a forklift, so if that helps, Noah.
I love that. So United Rental, who that is actually a huge company here in Buffalo. They're like one of the biggest ones. And so, good company, solid folks to work with, and good. Yeah. You never thought you'd hear that in your life, would you? I bought a forklift. So, well, So if you guys have any questions on the previous Money Club Mondays, I want to show you how to get here. A lot of folks don't realize how to use the Learn section in so if you go to the Learn section inside Private Money Club, the current version of Private Money Club will show you all of the past events. So it's got all of the past Money Club Mondays. It also has the last coaching calls, and you can sort by different things. I've got Legal Corner here. This one's given. So this one's a version of like a blog that we hired one of the top private lending law firms in the nation. To help us through the process. What we're doing, no one else has done before. Regulators hate it when no one else has done it before. So we needed a really good power law firm to do that. So what we did is, as a part of our contract with them, they allow us to use their blogs. So you look at the Legal Corner, goes through a variety of different things that we can, that you can talk about. I think there's private lending. Let's see. Just where's private lending going, some of the forecasting thing. There's other things like busted construction projects, what happens when things go wrong. There's some things on how to execute a foreclosure. So I try to pick the different articles that are close, that are universal. So they're California based. So some of the stuff is California based. But most of the stuff I try to do is, some of the things that I think you would think would be interesting. Other thing we do is tools. Tools goes through the perfect loan proposal and the max offer form. Max offer form's great if you're bidding on stuff. It shows you how to estimate how much you'd have to pay for a property. Walks you through, if you go through here, it walks you through how to do that and how to fill out this form. So that's something for you. Let's see. I think there's recordings from some of the events. We also have coaching calls. So if you go to the coaching call, you could actually go through and take a look at the March. Let me go. The April should be up. I'll go double check in the April for you, but we'll get that up for you and take a look at it. So you are good there. Put that in my thing. I'll get that up for you, Maureen, and I'll let you guys know as soon as it's up. It'll be up by tomorrow, and we'll get it up and done for you. Yeah, so we'll have that for you. Let's see. So anyway, just wanted to take you through a really quick thing of the current Learn section. We're about to build out some more on this Learn section. So there's going to be a section on here for certifications. You're going to see it show up above all of these. And then that way, what you can do is click onto it and actually go to specific, a specific certification course or stuff like that. You'll see it all here. We're going to start building this out a little bit more while we build the new version of Private Money Club. Cool. Awesome. So I know Shauna in the house. Welcome.
Hello. I was wondering, so Christy, I know that Noah's wife, Christy, is here.
Mm-hmm.
And I know something that we do on our own team huddles. I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but something we do on our team huddles is sometimes, talk about something that's a win this week or something that was like a struggle too. So I don't know if we have any time.
Yeah, I think we're pretty good. I know we just went through, we had a couple of questions. We had one about the previous coaching call. And so I just showed people kind of how to do it. We had an update briefly, just kind of catch you up a little bit. Update briefly on PMC 2.0 and 3.0. I know Sean and I have been putting a lot of work into that, but yeah, anything else, guys?
Yeah, Christy here at 6:45 or anything we're stuck on too.
Yeah. What went well this week or this month, I should say?
Hey, you guys, today's my 10th anniversary.
Hey, happy anniversary.
Hey.
So,
happy anniversary, man.
And we bought a house, like our forever home yesterday as well. So we're celebrating that.
It's not.
Nice.
And we've got our first office building that we're buying. I shouldn't say building, but it's a space. It's an office that we're buying. So that's a first for us. So we're celebrating that win too, which is kind of cool.
Happy anniversary, Noah!
Hey, thanks, guys.
Oh, Noah, okay.
Hey, I'm celebrating you guys too, because you guys are awesome. Like doing your homework, doing your assignments, crushing it. Like I hear, like I see you on the webinars and the case studies that you're sharing and doing, and you're using the right vocab and communicating awesome, and you guys are killing it. So shout out to you guys too. I'm celebrating you.
We're just following everyone's lead.
Right on.
I love it.
Hey, I just got something.
Yeah.
Oops, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, John, we're good.
John.
Hey, just a celebration. Andrew and Chris got me into doing a RIA group in Buffalo, and we've done 3 months so far, and things are going good. So never thought I'd be doing that, but here I am.
Absolutely.
John is hosting real estate meetups. He's using our office, like our event space here. So going from zero experience doing that, John, to like holding a room, that's
Yeah.
a huge accomplishment. And if anybody's inspired by that, we can ask John for some tips too.
Absolutely.
Do it.
Absolutely. And he really is rock. I mean, you're not, I'm not just doing this because I like you. You really are doing a good job with this. You took the
thanks.
range, you have it on, and you and Dimitri, one of the other folks at the office, just decided to go with it and reboot it. And you guys are doing a great job. You had a good turnout last time,
Yeah,
like a
very
decent
good.
turnout. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. And as they say, your network is worth a lot. And since I've been doing these RIA meetings, man, I've learned a lot, and things have really changed, and it's moving.
Good.
So
Awesome.
thanks, guys.
Do you want to tell a little bit about the story about how that came about? See, I know the story.
Okay.
But I'm going to let you tell it. Like, yeah, what was the impetus? What was your thought process behind doing this?
Well, as they all probably know, Chris and Andrew are my coaches, and I kept complaining to them for a few months. I can't find any RIA groups, and they say you got to be around the 5 people you want to be most like, and I can't find it. And they just said 1 month, well, if you can't find one, start one. And I'm like, oh shit, no, hell no. But then we went ahead and did it, and things are going good.
Absolutely.
So Dimitri and I are doing a very well job, I think, at it. So
Yep. So how many people did we start with on the first RIA?
the first meeting we had 3 people.
There we go. And how many last
Andrew,
time?
Dimitri, and me.
All 3 of us. Exactly. Right. And how many were you up to the last time now? So
We
31.
had, well, counting all of us, we had 26 people show up at the
Yeah.
last one.
Yep.
So,
So that's a pretty big win right there.
yeah.
From the 3 of us to 26,
Yeah.
not including us. I want to make that clear. No, good job. Good job.
Andrew, that's so cool. Like, you guys, that's such a great resource. Like, if you don't have a club in your area or networking, like, start one. And my wife and I, outside of just a real estate club, we hosted a networking meetup. So it was just like all types of business professionals. And what was cool about that, in addition to also doing the real estate one, was that we were the only real estate people there. And we like wrote the name tags, people in, they said hi to us before they went and grabbed their cocktails and stuff. And what was awesome is we got to practice our private money elevator pitch once a month on 50 strangers, people who never met that were attending our event before, so that we would ask them, hey, welcome, what do you do for a living? That's awesome. And then when we asked them that, they would turn around and ask us, and it allowed us to take them up our elevator and get people excited about my son's singing, get people excited about private money lending. So there's a lot to be said for the networking groups. And if you're the one that started it, that's edification within itself. So something to look into if there isn't one in your area, or just starting one that maybe isn't just real estate.
Well, I'll add this so that you guys don't even know this, but Chris and I have actually been talking about a lot about that. So we're going to make Private Money Club Money Tank Locals, basically a blueprint for starting a local re-up group. And we've already talked to a few people about it that have been in Private Money Club about starting in their local area. So it's actually really, really cool that you guys are bringing that up, because that is something that Private Money Club is bringing to local communities. And I'm super excited for it. And, that's what you do as real estate investors and entrepreneurs, is you problem solve. So what I want to do right now is I want to tap into our network. And, part of having that network is somebody like Bob McIntosh on right now. So, we had an attorney lined up for tonight. I'm not sure what happened with it. So we'll have to figure that out later on. But since we have Bob on right now, I figure maybe Bob could hop on and talk a little bit about what he does, because he's really good at setting people up to be the person, you know, and on the marketing side and on the edifying side. So Bob, if you don't mind, man, I'm kind of putting you on the spot right now, but I know you're always up for educating, and every time I've ever seen you, it's super, super good. So what do you think?
Yeah, I'm totally happy to chat for a little bit. And actually, what Noah was just sharing is kind of a perfect segue for a lot of what I've been talking about. So if you're good, I'll just kind of grab the reins here and roll with it. And
I love it,
go
man.
from there.
Thank you.
Perfect.
That's what it's all about, the PMC community, man. I love it.
100%. Yeah. So what Noah was just talking about, and I want to, and who was it? John, you were saying you started a RIA, right? So, John, I'm going to challenge you to do something. And for any of you who are running a RIA or even just attending a RIA, it's a perfect opportunity for you to position yourself as an authority in the space. So when we look at lending, and this is something that I know I struggled with for a long time, especially when we got started. You know, communities like this didn't really exist. There was no one to really talk to. Heck, my first deal we did, I got a loan from Wells Fargo because I didn't even know that private money was a thing you could do. And so, but I want you to think about when you're trying to raise money, right? In any capacity, if you're looking to say, hey, I need money to fund a deal, which a lot of us are, and obviously think about this if you have money and you're lending on a deal, which is, I want you to picture and imagine for a second, two different people. One person is in the ocean and they're swimming and they're drowning and they got their arms up and they're keep going below the waves a little bit, whatever. And then there's another person standing not too far away, maybe on a boat or on the shore or on a dock, and they've got the life ring, right? Now, if you, between those two people that you're thinking, which would you rather be? Right? Who would you rather be in that scenario? And in most cases, we'd rather be the person, you know, with the life ring, unless we're like trying to, you know, swim lessons. Maybe it's a sink and swim type deal. But for most of us, yeah, we'd rather be, you know, that person. And yet when we go about our day, when we go about doing things and posting online and sharing about the deals that we have, a lot of what I see, both in just in general, and even in some of the deals posted in the PMC, is the other way around. It's people posturing themselves as they need the money, not the other way around. And look, I'm not saying that, you know, you have a deal that you don't need the money. Let's be real. Like, we're not buying real estate unless we find the money there. But I want you to think about how you're posturing and positioning yourself in what you do. Now, if we think about that, right? If we all buy into the idea, and by the way, does anybody not buy into the idea? Put it, like, raise your hand if you're like, no, Bob, you're full of crap. I can be the drowning guy and still raise money, right? Like, I mean, sure you can, but we'd always rather be the guy with the life ring or the woman. You know, there's a lot of women on here too. Don't mean to, you know, I'm being general. So if we buy into that idea, then the next thing that we can do, and this is kind of where I specialize, is how do we position ourselves online so that everyone out there sees us as the authority that they're going to want to lend their money to, that they're going to want to give that hard-earned cash to, that they are going to believe is going to return the money that I give to them to do. So when we look at ourselves as a company, it's not just the things that we do every single day that matter. Because I mean, don't get me wrong, those do, but showing people what we're doing can be just as important to raising money. And showcasing the things that you're actively working on and how you're doing it, and the networks and the groups that you're part of and the events that you go to, like Noah's re-up event, for example, and, you know, all the PMC events, like those things make a difference. Why? Because it's positioning. It's showing the world who you are, what you do, and how you do it. And you'll be very surprised at the moment that you make that small shift from social media is just a place that people post crap on and it's full of shit, excuse my language, but that when you switch that mindset all the way around and say, hey, this is a place that I can showcase how amazing I am at the things that I'm doing, right? You shift the entire usability factor out there. You shift the entire ability for social media to transform you, your business, and your life. And I know that sounds dramatic when I say it that way, but I want you to think about a couple of things, right? Like, let's say, for example, that you had, $100 million sitting in your account and you had slated that to go out and lend on some properties, right? And then now let's say you log in, you're like, man, you know what? I got a lot of money. I need to find some good people. So I log in and to PMC because I'm smart and I bought a membership to PMC and I'm looking through some projects, right? And I see 2 projects that both need $250,000. Okay, well, I can easily fund that. That's not a big deal. In fact, it's a fairly small amount of my $100 million, right? Are you just going to say, sounds good, push a button, wire the money? Probably not, right? Most of us are going to probably stop and say, well, who's the person? What's the deal? What's the numbers? Do I trust they can get the deal done? Do I trust that they are going to return my hard-earned cash? Do I trust that they can accomplish this project? Is this their first project, second project, 100th project, 10,000th project? Like, they're going to want to know these things. And the first place that they're going to go to find that out is going to be your website. The second place they're going to go is going to be your social media, because they want to know who you are, what you do, and how you do it. That's the first thing that they're going to do is they're going to check out all that. Now, of course, that's after they look through the deal, right? Like if you're like, hey, I need $250,000 for a $100,000 house. Well, maybe they're not going to lend on that project, right? But they're going to check you out. And so I encourage each and every one of you to think about your social network as a way for you to build more credibility. The higher your credibility is perceived, doesn't matter if it actually is or not, right? But the higher it's perceived, right, the more likely you are to have better power negotiating terms, better power negotiating rates, better power negotiating anything with any private money lender, right? And I look at, for example, what we've been able to do in our business, and this is, for example, one thing. When we were actively flipping, which we're not really right now, but when we were, I don't know, for the last 5 years of flipping houses, I never made a single monthly payment on any loan that I had acquired for any flipping project. We always said, nope, the money will be paid in the end of the project once we sell the house, and nothing will be paid before then. And I remember I was having a conversation and someone was like, what are you talking about? How? And I never really thought about how, but the way that came about was simply because I had positioned myself as an authority that's trusted enough to make that happen. So imagine if you guys are like working on houses right now, imagine what it would be like to not have to make a monthly payment and just pay all the interest and all the principal back at the end of the loan. Man, that takes a lot of weight off your shoulders while you're working on a project. Because for any of you who have multiple projects going on, cash flow can cripple your business very quickly if you have to make those monthly payments. Sure, we make big checks, but we don't make big checks until the end usually, right? Now, when we do rentals, I'm making monthly payments. Why? Because usually it's going to be a longer term loan that we're going to be paying out, and I'm getting cash flow coming in, so it's okay, right? But think about that, right? Think about how you can position yourself on social. And there's a lot of ways that we can do that. And actually, hey, Andrew or Steven, can you set it so I can share my screen? I'm going to pull up
1 second here.
Yep. I'm going to pull up a quick slide. And I actually shared this at Noah's re-up event. I did a whole lot, more detail on this, but what I want you guys to understand is social media can be a lot easier than we think if we focus on doing the right things. And so I'm just going to share this quick, just this one little slide right here. All right. And I see Chris do this all the time. I see Steven do this all the time. I see Andrew, you're doing this same thing, same basic process, right? Like this is not something that like I created. I'm simply pointing out what we can do. And guys, feel free to take a picture of this, or if you want a screenshot of this, just hit me up and I'll be happy to send it to you. No problem. But what we can do is we can create one 15 to 30 minute video. And from that, using a lot of AI tools and a lot of things that exist right now, we can create one podcast, a blog, a newsletter. We can create YouTube shorts and faceless videos. We can create tweet cards and Facebook and Instagram posts and reels and stories and carousels and everything, right? Everything can come from one 15 to 30 minute video. And so the reason that I share this is that for most of you right now, it would not be impossible for you to stop for a second and create once a week a 15 to 30 minute video about what you're doing in real estate. In fact, that would probably be very easy. And like John, for you, for example, you have a RIA, right? That's a perfect spot for you to stand on stage, share a little bit about what's going on in your business and the things that you're working on, because it's your stage. You get to own it, right? That's the best part about having your RIA, right? And have somebody record that video. And now all of a sudden, not only do you have a video that you can spawn into all this content just like this, you simultaneously are on a stage, which immediately puts you in a higher, better position. you have a stronger life ring now versus someone who's drowning, and they're going to look at you as though you have that good life ring that they want as well. And so it's a lot of ways of how you can, you know, use that. And stop sharing just for a second. So, you know, when we look at this, there's a lot of opportunity out there right now. Now, I'm going to share a couple of quick tidbits for you guys. These are some really great tools that are fairly inexpensive that can help you push a lot of your content out there a lot further. Look, I'd love to help you guys with this. And by the way, oh, thank you. If you need any help with digital marketing, you need a CRM that does email or texting, you need a website, you need all that stuff, come find me. I'm happy to chat. I'm from Buffalo too, repping the Bills today, actually unintentionally. Wasn't even thinking about it, but just did that. So a couple tools. There's some really neat things out there that you guys can use to help you push out content. And the first one I'm going to share with you is called Descript, and that's DESCRIPT. I believe it's .com, might not be .com. If you look it up, you'll see it, but it's called Descript. Descript is amazing, right? You will upload a video and it will automatically caption it. You can remove ums and ahs. It can do all kinds of great things. And it's like, I think it's only like $120 a year for a whole year, not a month, for a year. And so think about that, right? Like how, and it does, you guys have all seen what they call now the Alex Hormozy video style, but basically it's the captions that have different colored words, like right below the mouth, so that you don't have to turn the volume on to read it. Like that's a great way to, you know, record your content and then upload it and get it out there. That's a great one, for that. And it's super simple to use. Literally what it does is it pulls up the, it pulls up your video, and all of the words that you say on the video, it automatically transcribes them into essentially like a Word document. And then you just change the Word document and it changes the words on there, but it gets it right. I'd say it gets it about 95% of the way right. Sometimes there's some weird things in there. So, you do want to be, you want to be careful with that. For example, I had one time where it translated what I said into "I hate black people," which is definitely not what I said. So you do just want to make sure that, like, hey, like, you go through it, just double check it, like don't trust it 100%. But it'll get you 95% of the way and help you there. So that's one tool that's really, really cool. I like. Another one, I want to make sure I get the URL right. Yeah, okay, here we go. So the other one that I'm going to share with you guys, this one's interesting, and I just like literally a month ago started playing with this tool, and it's called Get Munch. So Get Munch, and it's, I think, $50 a month, so it's a little bit more expensive. But what it does is you upload long form content, and it uses AI to recognize the content, break out clips from the content automatically, and automatically format them for different social platforms. And then within each clip, it tells you how relevant is this content compared to the rest of the content. So can I actually understand what's being talked about without watching the rest of the video? It tells you how viral the content has a probability of going, which of course is kind of a BS factor, but even, like, you're not going to put a video up there and all of a sudden get tens of millions of views, right? Probably not. Not at least with what we do in real estate. It's just not generally the most sexy of topics from a virality standpoint, but it breaks it all down. It does a great job. Now the limit is, I think it's 100 minutes of video a month is the maximum you can upload. But for most of us, that's more than enough content for what we need to spawn out. And it does a great job. Like, I uploaded a 38-minute video, and it found 31 clips out of the video for me, which is amazing. And it automatically formats them, automatically drops in captions. It does a lot of great things. So there's a lot of cool tools out there to help you get your content out there further. And why I share all of this is because, look, being seen on social, I guarantee you, is a great way to raise money, even outside of PMC and even within PMC, right? You put out there, these people are going to want to know what you're doing, and the more that they see you, the better off that they are. And I know, actually, I was just talking to Vin and Michelle. I know they're a part of the community, and Vin's a good friend of mine, and I gave him some guidance on putting content out, and actually gave him a framework to do that content, which, by the way, actually, I'm going to put my email address in here. If anybody wants the framework, just shoot me an email. It's totally free. It's a framework. It will take you about 15 hours to do the framework properly. But what it'll do is it'll outline for you an entire year's worth of content about what you should create and say for a whole year. Again, a little bit of an intense process, but if you're like, hey, I really want to take my content game seriously, and that's what they're using is that same process, it'll help you kind of get yourself there. And then like I said, my email's there. Just shoot me an email. I'm happy to send it to you, no charge at all. It's a video. It's about an 1.5 hour video, and I give you the spreadsheet to use with it as well. So everything's there for you. And then the only other thing that I want to say about this is this, right? Content is great. Having more content is awesome. People, it will definitely improve your credibility. And again, you may not be generating leads, right? Like the one thing I want, understand within social media, you're probably not going to get a bunch of people saying, oh, wow, this is great. Can I lend money to you on your posts? But what is going to happen is if you talk about how you're doing the things you're doing and how you're using private money to fund those things, right? Two things are going to happen. Number one, people are going to say, oh, interesting. Okay, that I'm going to have questions. Let me ask you. And they might ask you directly. They might call you if they know you or text you if they know you, right? But it may not be on social because most people don't want to talk about their money on social. The average person doesn't. Those of us who are entrepreneurs, we have no problem talking about money. Why? Because we know that talking about money brings in more money. But number two is it also brings you, opportunities to say, hey, look, I've got money here. If you become the person, the resource that has more money than you need right now, guess what? You become PMC's favorite member because it's like, hey, I got money. Who's got deals, right? You start being able to, it opens up doors to brokering and things of that nature. And so, just be aware that there's a lot of opportunities out there for everyone in that capacity. Now, if you do all this the right way, you follow through that system that I'm happy to share with you and all of that, here's what's going to happen. People are going to notice, they're going to check you out. And the first thing they're going to do after they find your social, if that's where they discovered you, is they're going to go to your website. Okay, so you got to make sure that you have a great website. This is, especially as a real estate investor, this is super important. Again, this is something that I'm happy to help you with. We have a very low cost option if you're kind of just getting started, so that it doesn't break the bank and you can still keep doing deals. But even if you don't want to use me, I don't care. What I care about is, do you have a great website? Because that's going to make or break the next step for them, right? All these little things are simply stepping stones to get them to say yes to lending you money. And if you are a lender, right, you're going to want to see that these people are doing these things, because if they're investing in their site and their presence and their social and all of these things, it shows that they're more serious. It shows that they're taking this more like a business versus treating it like a hobby. And if I'm going to give you my money, I want you to treat it like a business, not like a hobby, right? So all of these can be great ways. And then the last thing that I'll share in relation to this, and I can keep talking for a long time, but I don't know how much time I have. But the last thing I'll share is your communication. It is super important when you are borrowing money in any capacity to stay in consistent, constant communication with everyone throughout the process. Your lenders, your contractors, every person needs to have great communication. And so one of the ways that we do that is we use our CRM, and I track every single private money lender. So I can track who I gave money to, what position they're in, how much they gave me, what's the due date. And I also then have the ability to track my communication with them. So when I say, hey, I sent you a text on this date or an email on this date, and they say, I didn't get it, I can say, well, I can see that you did. It's right there in my system. I know that I sent it. I'll be happy to resend it again. But it enables you to set yourself up for success, because now you know that you're doing the right things. And even better, you can automate that communication so that everyone can get all the information they need to without you having to necessarily manually send emails constantly. So there's a lot of great things we can do. So if you kind of layer in great social presence, content, so people know who you are, right? Credibility from your website and communication through your CRM, you're going to have a whole lot more success. And you're also going to find that your lenders who gave you money the first time now become repeat lenders, right? We have a lot of, in our business, I don't know how much money we have outstanding right now because we just refinanced a bunch, but it's probably over $1 million. It's definitely over $1 million. And, most of that is from repeat lenders. Why? Because once they give you money once and you do it the right way, they'll want to keep giving it to you again and again. In fact, I think we have one lender right now. I think he's up to 600,000 that he's given us so far. He started out with 50, very untrusting, was very whatever. And it's been probably 5 years of working with him, but 5 years later, he's now literally 10x the amount of money that he has placed with us because we did the right things. We communicate, we do all those things. So,
that's good stuff, Bob.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, do this. How if people want to kind of learn more about your CRM and kind of what you teach and everything, what's the best way to follow you or get in contact with you? What's that look like?
Yeah, so best thing to do is honestly just contact me. So let me put this in here, go 3dc.com/pub. If you go to this website, hold on, I'm typing it now.
Cool. So while you're doing that, I just want to let everybody know. So Scott Reeb is on, and we're going to pivot over to him shortly, and which is great news. And then Scott's going to just talk a little bit about kind of the legal side of different documents. And then we're going to have Christy come on and teach everybody about real estate investing with mobile homes and what she does. So got a good lineup. So make sure everybody's drinking their coffee and ready to go with this.
Perfect. I'll just last thing I'll wrap up, which is I dropped the link in there. Go 3dc.com/Bob McIntosh. That has all of my contact details. So you can grab my cell phone, text me, email me, follow me on socials. Everything is there. If you want to be in touch with me in any capacity, that's always the best way. If I can help you guys in anything with your digital marketing endeavors, please just reach out. I am more than happy to do that.
Awesome.
Yeah, I love it, Scott. I appreciate it. And just so everybody knows, Scott, when Bob lived up in Buffalo, he did work with Chris and they did a lot of stuff together back in the day. And then Bob started venturing. Are you still venturing around the country, Bob, or where are you at now?
I am. I happen to be in the moment down near Daytona Beach, so not too far from you in that area. But yeah, still traveling around here now. Be up in Toronto for a little bit and a bunch of other places.
Nice.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, if y'all need any help, definitely reach out to Bob. He's awesome what he does. I appreciate you stepping in there, Bob, and filling. Teaching everybody a little something and getting it rolling for us. So we're going to keep this party rolling tonight with the 2-hour coaching call for Private Money Club. So Mr. Reeb, how are you, sir?
I am fantastic.
Awesome. Awesome. So I saw there's a little time zone mix up, which happens when you work all over different time zones. I was talking to somebody in Hawaii. I was texting with them earlier and I was like, because I think Hawaii doesn't do the daylight savings. So they're always changing and you got Arizona. So I completely get it, but we appreciate you coming on tonight and spending a few minutes with us. So I'll kind of let you take away the show and we'll go from there if that's cool.
You bet. Let me see if I can effectively share my screen. There we go.
Perfect.
Cool. Hey guys, really is a pleasure to be here, and it's a blast working with Private Money Club and Stephen and Chris, and it's an honor to be able to share with the group tonight. I am Scott Reeb. I'm a business lawyer. I am stationed in the middle of the country, kind of in the Dallas, North Texas area, and we work with entrepreneurs all over the country and help them build, grow, and protect their businesses and their wealth. And so I'm happy today to kind of share some tips for you guys as you venture into the world of real estate investment and running your own empires. So one thing I always like to kind of find out is, do you have some goals and dreams? And my assumption is you wouldn't be on this call if you don't. I've found in the 26 years that I've been practicing law and doing coaching and consulting is that small business entrepreneurship is the best vehicle to achieve your goals and dreams. And so you guys are in the right place to do that. The good news is that 80% of modern American millionaires are first generation millionaires. So you can make this happen for yourself. And then 66% of American millionaires are owners of small businesses, which real estate investment would count. And then 20.27 million millionaires in the US, that's a bunch of them, and 2 million millionaires added from 2019 to 2020 when they last reported it. So it's, you hear a lot of negative things on the news about how doom and gloom. I want you guys to know that there's still plenty of opportunity out there, and there's a way for you and I to achieve our goals and dreams. And I want to help you do it and help you protect it. The bad news is there are some legal threats to your wealth. Today, we'll go over 4 of those major legal threats, and then I'll show you the 4 components of what I call a shatterproof business structure that you guys can use to build your real estate and empires, okay? The 4 legal threats that we'll want to go through are: 1, people select the inappropriate business structure to do whatever it is they're trying to do. 2, they neglect the intellectual property or protection for their businesses. 3, They have improper classification of employees versus independent contractors. And 4, inadequate management of contractual rights and obligations. Okay. Today, we're going to focus on this top left square, selecting an inappropriate business structure, because that's the one I see the most of, and it causes some of the biggest problems. I will make this slide deck available to Stephen, and then he can send it out to you. So don't worry about having to take screenshots or pictures of the screen. And if he can't, I'll send it to you. So why does all this matter? Why do we need to have the right legal entity? Well, the sad truth is there's over 100 million cases filed in U.S. state courts every year. 100 million. 20 million of those are civil cases. That's the kind of cases that go against you and me for business dealings, personal injury, the kind of stuff that can affect our wealth. And I don't know about what you guys think about our judicial system. I think it's one of the best in the world. But as a 26-year lawyer trying lots of lawsuits, I've found it's really like a roach motel. And once you get into it, it's very difficult to get out. So we want to build our businesses and our investments in a way that we're less likely to end up in that system and that we're protected from it. Does that make sense? The first thing that you always have to do whenever you're looking at protecting something is kind of evaluate where you are. So we need to do a little self-evaluation tonight. And I've got 5 really quick questions. So hopefully you have a piece of paper handy. The first, we're going to rate these on a scale of 1 to 5. 1 is you don't know what the heck you're doing. 5 is that you are a Yoda Jedi Knight at all this stuff. So the first question right there on your screen is, how safe do you feel the 5 things are? And the 5 things are, what are the top 5 things that you want to protect in this world? For me, it would be my wife, my kids, my house, my business, and the rest of my family, right? They may be different for you, but everyone has at least 5 things that they would do anything to protect. How safe do you feel those things are in today's litigation climate that I just described for you? Scale of 1 to 5. Second, how confident do you feel about the legal structure that you currently have for your business today? Third, how confident do you feel about your intellectual property? That would be the name of your business or what you're using to do business in the real estate and investing world. 4, how confident do you feel about your hiring systems? So if you're using employees, how are you bringing them on? If you're using independent contractors and virtual team members, how confident are you that you're doing it the right way? And 5, how confident do you feel about the contracts that you're using in this business venture? So if you've got below 5s on any of those, that means you've got a little bit of work to do, or at least you're not confident that you have all those safe. I hope that by the end of this, you'll feel more confident about several of those areas. My mission is to help 10,000 entrepreneurs build and protect their businesses with my shatterproof process. And we are working hard to achieve that. And Chris and Stephen are helping me today by getting me in front of you so that I can try to help you. How do I do it? We have an access plan, which is a legal subscription model that we offer to all entrepreneurs so that they can be proactive on the legal side of their business. And we do it through our shatterproof process where we use the right legal systems and structures in place for those access members. Okay. Well, you're like, okay, Scott, what is shatterproofing? Well, I'm going to show you a quick video that demonstrates what that is.
So unfortunately, Scott, we can't really hear the audio on it. If you reshare your video, just make sure you check off the do system audio. There's like 2 check boxes in the bottom of it. If you check that off, we can hear it for you. Sorry about that. So I want to make sure
where would that be, Stephen?
Okay, no, so if you actually go through and stop sharing, then reshare your screen. There's 2 check marks at the bottom of that box. So if you just make sure you check those off, that way we can hear your system audio.
Sure.
It's like a cool video. I don't want to lose it.
I don't see that.
So you go to share.
There, share sound. I see it. Yeah,
that's it.
There it is.
Cool.
Optimized video. Yeah, thank you. I forgot to do that.
Anytime.
Is different. Where does it come from? Why is it different than this glass? Let's break some windows. In order to understand the special glass that makes up your car, first, we need to understand regular glass. Now, you probably know that glass is a clear, solid thing that comes from sand. But if you don't, glass is a clear, solid thing that comes from sand. So how are the windows in your car different? Well, first, let's talk about the windshield. Modern windshields are so strong that they can withstand over 2,000 pounds of force. They even play a role in the structural rigidity of your car. In 1903,
Steven, I can't hear anymore.
It's kind of interesting.
Steven?
Hey there. No, this is Andrew. I'm the one to help you through with it. So you said you can't hear anymore.
We were able to hear it.
I'm having a technical problem here.
Yep. One sec.
I couldn't hear anything. Could you guys hear the video?
Yep, we can.
Yes.
It froze.
Yeah, okay. Well, I wish you could see it. I don't know why it froze today. Anyway.
a French chemist accidentally dropped a beaker that was covered in nitrate plastic. When it hit the ground, it broke, but it didn't shatter into pieces. And safety glass was born. If you've ever broken a windshield or seen one break in the movies, you'll notice that it shatters but won't go anywhere. The glass in your windshield is actually two panes of glass. It's got a layer of glass, layer of vinyl, and another layer of glass. The layer of vinyl makes sure that everything sticks together. It doesn't shatter all over the place and stick in your neck and kill you. When you're driving, you should feel pretty safe. After all, you're surrounded by a metal cage that's been designed.
So that's how that, hopefully you could hear some of that. The idea of shatterproofing is like the window, the glass in our windshields. The glass in our windshields is meant for two purposes. One is visibility, and the other is protection. We don't want rocks to fly off the road and come through our windshield and hit us in the face. Well, I consider our business and our investments to be our best vehicle to achieve those goals and dreams. And so we want to build them in a shatterproof way. And the way we do that is we use our shatterproof system. Want to thank Chris and Steve for making this possible. And they've asked me to provide a free 20-minute session with anyone on the call that wants to. All you have to do is use this QR code and you can book a free call with me and we can actually discuss your specific structure for what you're trying to do in this investment world. Okay.
Awesome.
How do you get this thing out?
Well,
Magnet is so strong, I could barely get
so I
it
guess
out.
first thing we'd like to do, thank you very much, Scott, for presenting. I really appreciate it. Always good stuff. So what questions do you guys have? So you can either put them into the chat or you can unmute yourselves. What do you guys have? Here's a good one. Does it really matter what state you incorporate in? Thanks, Bob.
It's a great question, Bob. It does matter. One of the three pillars of asset protection is anonymity. And not all states are equal when it comes to anonymity. For instance, the state of Wyoming is very strong with anonymity. When you file a corporation or LLC there, they don't list online or in the records who the owner is of those entities or who the managers or directors are of those entities. So if someone's trying to do an asset search for a lawsuit, for example, they won't be able to find out who owns those entities. It's the same in Nevada, Delaware. New Mexico is actually an up and coming state for those kind of filings. So yeah, it does really matter.
Awesome. And does it matter like which state it is? I know right now there's a big thing between Nevada and Wyoming and Delaware. So is there any specific way to go through each one of those? Anything work better than others? Is it one of those your mileage might vary? There
definitely is. My preference is Wyoming. It has very strong asset protection or charging order laws, and it's very inexpensive to file. The other thing is that it's very quick. Usually we get about a 2-day turnaround from Wyoming, and especially in the world of real estate investing. The faster we can set up those entities, the better, so that you can close more quickly. And so that Wyoming is my preference, but Delaware's fine, Nevada's fine. They're slower. I find them both to be much more expensive to file and to maintain. So for me and my money, Wyoming and Nevada do a better job for that purpose, especially for an entity that's not going to be a brick and mortar type of a venture where it's operating with customers coming in and you can file it anywhere. Then those would be the two states that I would consider.
Awesome. Cool. We have another question from Ruth, just asking about hearing about LLC and business trusts, like family trusts. Is that something that you guys do? I think specific, more like putting an entity into a revocable living trust, stuff like that. Is that something you guys do?
Yeah, we definitely do that. There's revocable living trust. Now, a revocable living trust is just an agreement to hold property or assets. It has, because it's revocable, it has no asset protection qualities to it. You can use a living trust in your business structure. And in fact, let me skip ahead a little bit in some slides. One of the business models that we recommend is called the hub and spoke model. And the hub and spoke model, you'll see there's all of these have a two-company model also. A living trust at the top. It's at the top of every structure we do. And then it owns whatever asset protection entities that we're creating. That is so that if something happens to you, the trustee that's behind you is now in charge of everything that you do. It doesn't have to go through a probate court in your state or multiple states, and everything you have become public record and tied up for years trying to get that settled. And so the living trust is great for that estate planning efficiency. It also can serve as a screen if we name it creatively instead of just using our names. Then that's also hard for them to find who the living trust is when they're looking in property records, for example. Now, if you use an irrevocable trust or a land trust, those can be great for asset protection. And a lot of our real estate investors are starting to use the land trusts to actually buy their real estate, and then it would hold the real estate in an LLC.
Cool. Great. We got a question from John Zuch. I know he's in New York State here. He says, can you transfer an LLC from one state to another? So what I think what he's asking is he's one of our coaching folks, and he said, what I think it is he wants to go from New York to like Nevada or New York to Wyoming.
Yeah, that's a great question. Sometimes it depends on both states. The state has to let go of it, and then another state has to receive it. And so we do this a lot. A lot of people are moving from California to Texas, for instance, and we're finding that it's easier to just set up a brand new LLC with the same exact name, and then once it's open, then wrap up the old LLC, shut it down. You can use the same federal ID number because it's the exact same named company and owners, and then you just keep moving forward.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
Let's see. Colleen says, I have a Nevada and Wyoming LLC. She's moving to North Dallas area. Was wondering what the fees are currently in Texas to be able to operate from there.
So for me to file an LLC in Texas, for instance, with courier charges is about $440. And then you have to file an annual report to show whether your income rose to a level that you would pay a franchise tax. That's going to have to be in the millions, basically. And so you can file a no tax due report if you have less than that. If you fail to file it, you pay a $50 fee. So it's very inexpensive to operate in Texas.
Good to know. Any other states that are good like that, like Arizona? Anything else that's good? I'm just curious.
Yeah, Arizona's good. New Mexico, Wyoming, those are all good states. The big deal with Wyoming, Delaware, Nevada, New Mexico, other than the anonymity, is that they have very strong charging order laws. A charging order is what happens if they get a judgment against you personally. Everyone plans for the judgment against the company not taking your personal assets. But if you happen to run over a brain surgeon in the prime of their life and create a $5 million liability claim, and they sue you and win and get a $5 million judgment against you personally, if you file in a state that doesn't have strong charging order laws, they can go straight through the LLC and take the membership interests. If you file in the states we've talked about, They have the strongest of charging order laws. All they get is this order saying they're entitled to the profits that are distributed from the company. Well, if we've written your LLC operating agreement correctly, there's no required distributions, and then we can find other ways to get money out of our LLCs, and their judgment's worthless. So it's really important to make sure we're holding our assets in LLCs in states that have really strong charging orders.
Cool. All right, we got one more question here. Do you guys act as a registered agent, or do we need to get a separate company? So if you created a company for us, do you guys do a separately registered agent? And how much would that cost? I guess is the other thing too.
Yeah, Jennifer, great question again. For years, I served as registered agent. And the problem with me doing it or any other like attorney or CPA is that we go on vacation. We close. I mean, I close for a week at Christmas. If something happens, I will not get it timely and get it to you timely. And so all of our clients, we have a partnership with a corporate entity that's all they do is do LLCs, corporations, and serve as registered agent. They have a really nice portal where you can have access to all of your entities. They can even do the filings for you, and they charge like $100 a year. So it's very nominal.
Awesome. Well, it looks like we're at the end of all of our questions there. Again, thank you so much, Scott, for coming tonight. Appreciate it. Sorry about the bit of a scheduling snafu there.
Me too.
The world of
Hey,
Tyler, the wonderful
thanks,
world
Stephen.
of But anyway, it's been really great. It's been wonderful to hear you guys. Really appreciate it. So this is, I think, one of the more critical parts of being in business is the legal end of things. So really appreciate you coming in and educating us. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah,
Awesome.
thanks.
Awesome.
Thanks, Scott. Good to see you, man.
Yeah,
All right,
thanks.
cool. We're going to keep this party going. So we're going into hour 2 of the 2-hour coaching, and we got Christy Duckett Harris. Oh my gosh. I'm so pumped right now. But all right. So Christy, I'll let you take it away, but just a quick introduction. Everybody knows Christy if you were at the mastermind, if you've been to the re-up events, if you've been around the coaching. I don't know if you pop into the back of Noah's accelerator, but this is Noah's wife, Christy. Him and Noah, you guys know Noah's story a little bit, but they've had a successful real estate business for many years now, and are absolutely rock stars at what they do. So super excited to have you on, Christy. And I know we haven't really worked out the details, but Christy will be speaking on stage at the next Money Tank event in Raleigh, North Carolina. So this is kind of a little preview for the Money Tank event. But we said, you know what? We got to have more women investors up on stage teaching and coaching. So hopefully y'all like that. But Christy, take it away.
Awesome. All right. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay, amazing. So I have to share something with you really quickly. At this time, 10 years ago, I was getting the party started in a different way. I actually was getting married. Today is my 10th year anniversary. So thank you. So I'm excited to be on here with you guys, equally as fun and exciting. And I'm actually going to be talking about mobile homes this evening. So how many of you, by a show of hands, have come across the mobile home lead and didn't know what to do with it, and probably threw it to the side and thought ugh, this is worthless. I'm never going to do anything with this. It's okay. Don't be ashamed. I'm going to tell you what to do with that now. I'm actually going to go in and share my screen for you. I'm going to kind of go through, hopefully by the end of this, you're going to have a good idea to know of what to do with mobile homes. And did that work? Hold on. Let me see here. Let's see if we can get that moving. Hang on a second, guys. Let's try that again. All right. Can you see my screen?
Yes. Looks great.
All right. Now everything gets easy. Cool. I hate technology. Sorry. Noah's the tech guru. I'm the one who's just throw me on stage in front of 1 million people and I'll talk. But I hate anything that has to do with PowerPoint because it never goes.
You fit in well with our group then. That's Chris's thing too.
Well, good. I feel better. So again, I'm Christy Duckett Harris. I have been investing since 2007. I actually started my investing career in Orlando, Florida. I always tell everyone, if you haven't lived in Florida, you'll live there once. I did. I now reside in Columbia, South Carolina. The majority of our investments are here. We still actually invest all over, but most of our investments are here. We do some stuff in Virginia, North Carolina, and Florida as well. It's interesting. Mobile and manufactured homes, when I was living in Florida in 2007, I actually came across a huge mobile home park. And I thought there's got to be something to this, right? I see people renting, I see the lot space, I see the retirees. And the 2 gentlemen that mentored me of real estate, I literally asked them, I said, do you think I should get into mobile homes? Should I do something with this? And they were like, absolutely not. Don't touch mobile homes. They're the worst investing asset. And like a good investor, and I was in my 20s, I didn't listen to them. I said, I'm going to figure this out, right? So if you still remember in 2007, that was when like the internet was really taking off. And at that time, I just started like kind of, I don't even know if Google was around then. I don't know what I did. I just searched out mobile manufactured homes, right? And this book pulled up. And I thought like, okay, I guess if I'm going to learn, like I've educated myself in single family homes because I've always invested in single family homes, have rentals, short-term rentals. I need to learn a little more. Well, as I started to research, I realized there was like nothing really out there very much about manufactured and mobile homes until I found this book called Deals on Wheels. And if you haven't read that book, I highly recommend you get it. It's a very short read. It's a little kind of outdated now, but it gives you the basic concepts on stuff. And the gentleman that wrote this book, his name was Lonnie Scruggs. And Lonnie was a very smart man. He passed away, it's probably like 2011. Him and his wife, Joanne, helped and educated us and mentored us. So that's why I really got into mobile homes. I actually drugged my business partner, who is still a business partner of mine at the time, to a retreat in Alabama. It was like a mobile home. It was called the Meeting of the Minds. And I said, we're flying to Alabama. We're going to check this mobile home thing out. She's like, you're crazy, but I'll go with you. And the rest was history. After the market kind of crashed in Florida, personal circumstances took me to South Carolina. I wanted to move closer to my family in Virginia. We moved up here. And what was funny is in Florida, I'd never bought a mobile home. I was still doing single family homes. But when I moved up here, I started looking and realizing there's a lot of mobile homes here too. What the heck? And I started talking to more and more people, and I was finding you could keep them as rentals, you could make money on them. And I knew there was something to it. So I thought, okay, I got to learn a little more. So I just started talking to more people, looking at the numbers. And when I ran the numbers, they just made sense. But what I also found is there were a lot of weird nuances to them. There were different things, and I felt like that's what kept people out of them. They didn't understand the financing on them. They didn't understand what you could actually do with them. They were scared of them. It's a trailer. I always watch these things on TV and they blow away in tornadoes and hurricanes. I don't think I should buy them. So I felt like through this long period of time, there was an opportunity. There had to be something. And what's funny is I was buying them, I was wholesaling them, I was rehabbing them. And when COVID hit, for many years, I kept telling my husband, Noah, I said, listen, I really feel like I should write a book or a course, over the years about how to do them, because I would get so many questions and I felt like I was disservicing people and giving them half answers. So during COVID, we were trapped inside and I said, okay, now's the time. I'm going to film a course on like how to buy and invest in mobile homes so people can actually do it and do it successfully and they aren't making mistakes. So tonight I want to kind of just bring you more information, show you what you can do with them and that the opportunity is out there. So common questions everybody wants to know, and I get all the time, is what's the difference between a mobile, a manufactured, and a modular home, right? Like why, and a trailer, like these words are used interchangeably, but what the heck do they mean? How do we determine value? What about repairs? Mobile homes look very different from single family homes. Are we using the same materials? Are the costs the same? Like, what does that look like? What are the key must knows and what exactly can we do with them? Because the reality is we can make money, but how do we make money? And I wouldn't recommend, for those of you watching this, some people think, oh, I'm going to start big. I'm going to go buy a park. Don't do that. If you don't even know how to like invest in one, please don't go out and buy a park. Don't go crazy. Start little, start with one, learn the different things about it, and then move forward. So right here, I did a breakdown of what's really the difference. So what's a mobile home versus a manufactured home? And a mobile home, I always like to kind of give this. When you think about driving through a mobile home park and you see a home in the park, that's typically what we talk about a mobile home because it's still mobile. There's a steel L-beam that runs through the middle. It's on concrete blocks and wooden pillars. It has a hitch on the front. You can actually move the home. It's still mobile and it's actually on a title, just like a car title. So typically in most states, you're going to the DMV and you're going to have a title and that's how you sell it. And that's how you move the home. Okay. When we get to manufactured homes, the big difference is in June 15th, 1976, HUD passed a guideline law that said, listen, these homes have never had a standard to be built like a single family home. So we need to create something that basically says we, are standing behind these homes. They're made well, they're structured well, and they certified these. And basically what happened is they now became known as manufactured homes. Now, interchangeably, you'll hear me say mobile versus manufactured. It means nothing more than the date that happened. But what's really important about that date is anything prior to that date, June 15th, 1976, is hard to get financing on. And in most counties, you cannot move an older mobile home earlier than that date. So if you're looking at manufactured homes, you need to make sure of the date if you're actually moving them interchangeably within the area. Now on that manufactured home on the front of a mobile home, if you've never seen one, I recommend you go tour them, go to a mobile home park, old or new, go look at them and see what they really look like. There's going to be, it's called a HUD sticker, but it's more like a plate on the front of the mobile home, usually on the front left-hand corner. If it's a double wide home, it's on the back. There should be 2 plates and they will say HUD. They usually start out red, they fade out over time and they become silver. But that's basically how you know they're HUD certified. Now, when you're hooking in homes that are manufactured homes, you have to have the utility connections inspected. So if you're moving them from one park to another or somewhere else, you have to go in and a city or town inspector comes out and approves the electrical hookup. A modular home is completely different. Now, there is a big business within those. Modular homes are like stick-built homes. They are actually held to the same standards and guidelines. A code inspector has to come in and approve everything for the building. So those are kind of like their own animal, not that we don't do them, but we stick more in the mobile and manufactured homes, okay? Mobile home. Again, I always use the word trailer interchangeably because we think like M&M 8 Mile, right? The trailer park. That's what people think of when they think of these, but there's 3 types actually, and even more, but you're mostly dealing with a single wide or a double wide. Sometimes there's a triple wide. It's very rare you see those. Single wides are majority in mobile home parks. All of these, which is the great news about them. So like right now today in South Carolina, we're getting a ton of rain. And if this was a new construction single family home, nobody would be able to work today. It was raining so hard, right? So the home is sitting. The cool part about the manufactured or mobile homes, they're actually designed in a factory and they're built there. So no weather restrictions really bother them. They're able to be made in a timely fashion. And they're, because of that, they're becoming more popular because they're also affordable housing. So they're factory built. That gives the dimensions of them. Single family homes, 14 by 80 is very common. A 3-2 floor plan gives you the best return of investment, just like a single family home. So keep that in mind when you're looking at them. However, we do have some 2-2 single wides that have done really well. So don't discount them. Mobile homes are a lot different than single family homes. Double wide means double 2, right? 2 pieces. So it's really like 2 single wides put together into one. They're larger, and typically you're going to see more of them affixed to land. You will see some of them in parks, right? Especially in your retiree states, such as Arizona, Florida. But all in all, you're going to see a lot of them on land. And once they are really placed, it's very rare they're actually moved after that point, unless they're repossessed or something, they've been moved to a separate piece of land. Single wides are more of the ones you see removed and moved a lot, especially nowadays, because people are looking for affordable, cheap housing. I have an extra piece of land. I want to put something on there to create income. A lot of people are buying the single wides because they are so cheap. Now, the HUD tag that I talked about, that I'm pointing to in the top left picture, that used to be red. So when I say it's like red and silver, now it's completely silver because it's faded out. That's going to be your HUD tag. Now, a data plate is to the right. What's a data plate? Where do I find it? A data plate gives all the specifications of the home, where it was manufactured, when it was built, the actual serial number, which matches up to the title, what wind zone it is, right? Wind zone 1, wind zone 2. Wind zone 1 is inland. So I'm in Columbia, South Carolina. I'm not along the coast. So the home is built to a different standard than a wind zone 2, which is actually built for coastal. So when the hurricanes come through, it stands up to hurricane force winds. So you need to know your wind zones when you're moving homes, because wind zone 2 can be moved to 1, but 1s cannot be moved to 2s, okay? Especially if you're on the coast. If you're middle America, it probably doesn't matter as much, but on the coast, it's very important. So it's gonna tell you where it's manufactured. Data plates are found within the home. They are actually found in the electrical box or the kitchen cabinet or the master bedroom cabinet. So there's lots of different places they can be found. You'll see on the front of this home, when I talked about like a hitch as to where it can be towed, and that makes it mobile, right? You can still move it from place to place. They hook it up and they move it out of there. And then on the right, you're going to see something called the bill of sale. That's actually what they're sold on. So mobile homes are also very confusing because they're sold on titles or they're considered real property. So real property means they have been detitled. That means the title, like your car, like a mobile home, has been permanently removed and has been affixed to land. And now it is actually considered real property, like a house. Now, the great part about that is it opens many means for it to be financed. First-time home buyers, FHA, right? Conventional USDA. Some of the newer homes can be financed through that, even some of the older. The word chattel means it's just the home. So when you see it sold on a title, there's something called a chattel loan. You'll see a lot of these in Florida, a lot of older homes, banks will actually finance them at higher interest rates. So it's not that one's better than the other. That's just, you just need to know the difference if you see one that's on land. Now, how to value or pull comps? I get that question a lot, right? Because a mobile home is a little tricky. If it's in a park, it is different than if it's on land. If it's on land, it's like a house. So you're going to comp it out against other mobile homes. There's local city, county rules and regulations, right? You need to call your county. With single family homes too, when you're doing things like, do you have to pull a permit? If you move that home, can you move someone back on some other home back on the land? Will they allow that? Is it grandfathered in? All of these things are really important. The buying paperwork is different. So when you're buying on a title, you're using a bill of sale. I know I'm throwing a lot at you, right? But I only have a short amount of time, but I want you to familiarize yourself with all of these things. And at the end, I'll answer any questions you have too as well. But paperwork is really important. If it's been detitled, it's on land. So that's a different process. You're actually going to go to a title company or closing attorney. Whereas if it's just the home on a title, you can actually sell that from person to person. It's done through the DMV, right? Just like a car or a motorcycle or a boat. Financing to sell can be very tricky. People will buy mobile homes and think, oh my gosh, I got a great deal on this. I'm going to sell it to someone that can get financing. And the home might be old and they're not able to get financing. It might be an all cash deal. So you have to really know what year and what financing is in place that I might actually be able to purchase this. And mobile home supply stores, what are those? So mobile home supply stores are dealerships for mobile home parts. So if you've ever been in a mobile home, you'll realize that in some of the older ones, bathtubs are a little bit different. They're a little smaller than a single family home. So if you go to Lowe's or Home Depot thinking, I'm going to get a brand new tub and I'm going to put it in this mobile home, only to find out, guess what? It doesn't fit. So it's really important to know the differences between those and find a mobile home parts supply store because they sell cabinetry, they sell faucets, doorknobs, doors, windows. All of these things are completely different from single family homes. And in all honesty, you're overpaying if you go to a Lowe's or Home Depot for them. Key relationships in the business. So as we've moved through the years, we've learned that there's great ways to make connections in this business. Whereas a lot of single family homes, which we invest in as well, marketing is a little bit different, right? We send out direct mailers. We still do that for mobile homes, but I feel like single family homes is a much broader business, right? We can talk to agents. We can talk to these people that are educated in the business to find good deals on homes. With mobile homes, it's a lot different. It's a very personalized, I feel like more old school relationship. So mobile home park managers are a great relationship you need to have and great people that you need to have on your team. If you're looking to buy in a park, you need to know the park owner or manager to know if you're able to and allowed to buy homes in that park. Mobile home movers. My business partner, Erica, and myself have had a great relationship we built recently with a mover that has allowed us to buy homes at a discount and sell them to end investors or retail buyers, almost, wholesaling them. So we've been able to have a great strategy because there's so many people looking for affordable housing now. Mobile home dealers and inspectors. These are people that know leads. These are people that necessarily don't want to invest in mobile homes themselves, but they know where certain deals are and they know where highly motivated people are. So these are a lot of people that bring us leads. The mobile home supply store owners. typically what you'll find, these people have owned the stores for many years and they have great relationships built. And they have people that come to sell them homes. They know all the park owners. So sometimes they're like the gatekeeper to everyone. So just building a great relationship and rapport goes a very long way with them. And lenders who specialize in manufactured homes. Guys, this is really important. If you're buying a home that's on a piece of land and you're looking to flip that home, right? You need to know that house can be financed, but you also need to know that they understand how to get financing on a mobile home. Otherwise, what you're going to find out is you're going to bring a bunch of buyers to the table that are interested in the home and they're not able to get financed because they do work a little bit differently. So having someone on your team, even an agent, I don't have that on here, an agent that understands mobile homes. We are like in the hub. I think we have the most, at one point we did, and I'm going to venture to say probably still, most mobile homes per capita in South Carolina. That's the #1 state. So it's really important that we know an agent that actually understands and deals with manufactured homes, because 9 times out of 10, I'll call one and they'll say, ugh, I want nothing to do with this. I don't do manufactured homes, right? They kind of like turn their nose up and snub it. So it's very important to have somebody that like loves the business, but understands the rules. Now there's different strategies that we do. And on here on my website, I actually have a seller lead sheet that is specific to mobile and manufactured homes. Okay. So like if I have a lead sheet for single family homes, I might be asking questions like, how long have you owned your home? Do you need a new roof? Do you need a new kitchen? When was the last time you updated these things? Whereas mobile homes, I might be asking, is it a single wide? Is it a double wide? Is it in a park? Is there a lot fee included, right? So it's important to know these different questions, because if you're asking somebody something that isn't correct, you could sound a little uneducated, right? Like someone might go, oh, they don't know mobile homes. They don't even know what they're talking about. So it's good to know these things to ask. Renting out a mobile home in someone else's park. That's a huge strategy that we've used. Seller financing a mobile home in someone else's park. Now you might be thinking, don't I eventually want to own the park? Absolutely. I think that's great. But reality is, if you know nothing about a mobile home park, the last thing I'm going to tell you to do is go spend $1 million to buy one, right? And then figure it out. It sounds like a really bad idea. Don't do it. If you've got the money, stay away, right? Renting a home in someone else's park is great because you're not taking on all of the expenses of the park. So, hey, there's a pipe that busted in the park. Oh, well, who cares? I just own the home. I paid them lot rent. They have to fix that, right? So I'm going to talk about the advantages of working in a park and renting out homes. Wholesaling mobile homes. What's cool about this is I love my single family homes, right? I do short-term rentals. We do travel nurses. We do a little bit of everything. But what I love about the mobile homes, it's like an additional income stream that not a lot of people are going after because they don't understand them. So I'm able to, I would tell you, like on average, probably right now with very minimal work, just with the relationships we built, we're able to bring in an extra $6 to $8 grand a month just off of the mobile homes outside of our single family home business, which is pretty cool. So I know most of you are thinking like, okay, $6 grand a month, $8 grand a month, that's, an additional 80, 90 grand a year. Some of you listening to this are saying like, that's a whole salary. Like, that's amazing. That's something I could do with a little effort. So wholesaling has become a great strategy because I love to move things. Fix and flip in a park, okay? Chattel or on land, real property. And I'm actually going to touch on the ones that are highlighted in black. Land home deals, finding land and then actually putting septic and a well on it, or maybe septic and sewer, and then moving a brand new mobile home onto the land, right? Or finding a piece of land with an older manufactured home and moving that old home off the land and putting a brand new one. So there's a lot of cool strategies you can use to create a whole new product and make more income. And selling is turnkey investments. So I don't know where everyone is at right now, but I'm sure some of you are in very expensive markets. I could venture to say if you're probably in a New York, you're probably in a California, a Seattle, a Florida, right? We know all those markets. They're a lot more expensive than where I'm at in Columbia, South Carolina. We're still able to find mobile homes in parks for $8 grand, $9 grand, 10 grand, but rent them for $900 a month. So what we've been able to do is build out-of-state investors that we actually find a home, fix it up, and then sell it off to them. So we make a little bit of a profit selling it to them. They make a great cash flow on it. And then we property manage on the back end. So we're able to create a couple streams of income, but then we're also able to help people invest, because a lot of people go, you know, I don't necessarily have $200,000 to buy a house or even 80,000, but I've got 15 or 20 grand laying around I could put into something. So it's a cool entry level point. And for those of you that have policies and you're looking for something, you know, to put money into and do, this is like a great opportunity. That's why we love this. So I want to talk about the rent and the lot rent and buying a home in a park, because that really is one of the biggest, easiest strategies and places to start, I really feel like. So this is, I found a cheap mobile home, but it needs to be moved. I found a mobile home for sale and it's in a mobile home park. These are questions I get all the time. So the question is, can I buy a home in a mobile home park? And then am I able to rent that mobile home to someone? That's going to come down to, will the park allow you to do it? So here is a big piece of advice. Do not just go buy a home just to buy a home because you got a good deal. And I've had this happen before. You know, oh, I could buy a home for $3,000. Guess what? That doesn't mean that's a good deal. That just means it's cheap. You might find out that park doesn't allow investors to work in it. And if that's the case, you're not able then to rent the home. Well, guess what? Now you've got an asset you can't do anything with. Hang on a second, guys. I'm going to grab a water real fast. Sorry about that. All right, perfect. I'm talking so much and talking so fast, I got to dry throat. I'm a fast talking girl from the South, which is not like typical, right? So anyway, finding a home in a park, you want to first clear with the park that you're able to buy homes and they want to work with you. And then what you want to do is estimate the rents of the park, and you want to look at the lot rent. Because what you're going to find is literally before this call tonight, guys, I do some mobile home coaching, and I'm doing like a 4-week coaching program. And one of my students is down in Charleston, and she found a mobile home for $30,000, which is actually a good deal down there. It rents for $1,000 a month, but the lot rent is $600 a month. That's very high. However, it includes internet, water, sewer, everything. So when I looked at the numbers, her return on investment was still around 30% when we ran the numbers on expenses and everything else. So that home actually made sense. So you really want to look at what are the rents minus the lot rent, okay, and what you're purchasing it for. But you also want to look at what are the repairs. Now, within that park, you have to be really aware that there could be things that could be deal killers. So high lot rent, that could be a deal killer. I coach another student in California. Her lot rent is $1,500 a month. Some of you are going, $1,500, that's crazy. But guess what? Rents are $3,500. So it's all, you know, kind of put it into perspective of where you're at. Changes in ownership. Whatever you do, when you start buying homes in a park, make sure you have a lease in place with that park. And you want to make sure you have an agreement written up by an attorney. And the reason I'm telling you this is because we bought homes in a park that was a mom and pop type park, and they ended up selling it off to someone. And when they sold it off to someone else, they came in and they started like bombarding us with new rules. They started changing the lot rents. And what happened was something we bought that was a great cash flowing tool, because they raised the lot rent so much, ended up not being necessarily a great investment. So you want to make sure if new ownership does come into play, you're able to move your homes. Can you resell your homes? Can you renegotiate lot rent? These are important things to put in a lease that you have in place. I highly, highly recommend that. And does the park allow renters? So one park we work in, they only, and it's not a bad thing, you just need to know, they only allow owners, or they only allow you to owner finance. So they do not allow renters. So if I were to get a good deal in a park and go buy this home, and then all of a sudden, guess what? I think I'm going to rent it. And then, okay, I can't do that, or I can't flip it. Now I'm stuck with the home. And guess who's on the hook if nobody buys that home? Me, for the lot rent. So you can end up getting yourself in a really bad deal and a lot of trouble. And that does happen. So I want you to prevent doing that. So these are questions to ask the park owner or manager. What we like about working in a park, it's a simple way to start. So we can get in where we don't have to buy the park, and all we have to do is pay lot rent. So it's a really low entry level. I mean, we've gotten homes for $1,000, $3,000. I know that sounds insane. We might have gone in and put 8,000 in them, but again, we can rent them. So it's a great way to start. And we're not responsible for the park maintenance. That's huge. We've owned parks in the past. And one park we owned in particular, we had to test the well every month to make sure the water was good. We had to abide by certain county rules and regulations. If one of the park tenants was upset, what if they called the county on us? So now we're dealing with a much bigger issue. And the maintenance can be very expensive, right? Water, all of that. If it's a poor older infrastructure, that can cost a lot. Insurance. So it's nice to just own your home and have a really simple cash flow tool, but not have to deal with all of the headache. And it's great cash flow opportunity. So that's why I really recommend if you're starting out. In that book I gave you in the beginning, we called it Deals on Wheels by Lonnie Scruggs. We like to call these homes in a park Lonnie deals. They were kind of named after him because he was the grandfather of mobile homes. Now, buying a used mobile home and moving it into someone's park, okay, this can be a great strategy too. So there was a park, and we still have homes in there. Actually, we've sold them off to other investors now, but we still property manage them. There was a really nice park in a great location. And once we started looking around, we realized, like, driving through, there were a lot of empty spaces in there. And I'm like, well, that doesn't make sense. Like, the park is in business to make money, but they have a lot of vacant spots. How can we help them? So, and we do this now in another park. We actually went to the park manager and said, we'd be interested in bringing homes in your park. But if we do that, can we get a couple months free lot rent? Or can we get discounted lot rent? And what happened was we brought in like 8 to 10 homes in one park, and they gave us discounted lot rent for 2 years. So our cash flow was really high. So it was a win-win, right? For them, they were able to fill their park and get more lot rent. For us, we got discounted lot rent. So we work with another gentleman, the one I was talking about that only allows you to own or finance homes. He used to pay pre-COVID, because the price of everything has gone up. He would actually pay you to move a home in. So we could move homes for like $2,500 to $4,000, like back in 2011 and 12. He would pay all of the moving fee and give you a couple months free lot rent. So it was like, oh, this is great. We can bring our homes in there, then owner finance them back out to someone. We have no cost coming in. He's changed that now, but he'll actually give you free lot rent for 4 months. And then he gives you $2,000 towards the moving costs. So now moving costs have gone up a little. So that's something important. When I put on the sheet, you want to know mobile home movers, you want to find out what the cost is. So in one area like ours in particular, single wide mobile homes, we can move for $4,500 to $5,000. Double wides, we're looking at $7,500 to $8,000, depending. So if you're in some of those higher price markets, you're looking at a lot more money. So it might make more sense for you to actually buy in a park where they're in place versus moving them in. So you want to kind of run those numbers and look and see. But on here, you can see a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath, purchase price $10,000, monthly rent $625, lot rent $325, property management, 8% on that, 8 to 10%. I tell people on average. So you're cash flowing that $254 a month. I don't know about you, but when you look at those numbers, you probably can't even buy a single family home that's cash flowing. I think like the recommendation, a lot of times we'll say, oh, if your single family home is cash flowing $350 a month, you're doing good. I mean, that's a mobile home cash flowing $254 for a $10,000 investment. And like, these are real numbers, guys, in this market. Like, you're thinking you can buy something for 10 grand. You can, they're very negotiable because everyone isn't buying them. You just got to find the right park and look for the right deals. And again, these aren't beat up homes. Like, you're probably thinking like, oh, these are probably so bad. Like, no, I don't rent anything that I wouldn't live in myself. So I always keep that in mind with anything I'm buying. I also won't buy in areas that I don't feel comfortable going to pick up my own rent. That doesn't mean that I'm, going to go pick up my rent, right? I might put them with property management, but I want to feel comfortable and safe. And I think that's important. But this is an out-of-state buyer. Can you wholesale homes that we built rapport with, that needed some homes and finding homes, and we were able to make connections and sell them. So this just gives you a breakdown of like the year of home, how many homes, right? What we're buying them for and what selling. So this gives you your return on investment. So can you wholesale them? Yes, absolutely you can. This is an older deal. One we did most recently. I want to give you numbers on that. just literally within the last week, we have an investor that bought a bunch of mobile homes with us, and he's actually looking, they're in a park. He's actually looking to just move his money, but he's had these for years. I want to say he bought them for probably 12 to 13 grand. We actually did like a turnkey investment. He's made his money, like all that money back and then some on that. So he decided now he had a tenant, one of the units went vacant. And we said, listen, you know, you got to dump a little money into it to get it back up. It's not really bad, but you got to put a little money in. Would you rather do that, or would you rather just sell it as is? He said, you know what? I've made my money on this thing. I think I'll just sell it for 6 grand. Can you get me 6 grand? I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure we can get you 6 grand. I was like, that's what you want. You're good with that, right? Yep, absolutely. So we went back and actually sold that home out to someone for 11,000. So we made 5 grand on it. He got his 6 grand. The new investor got their property. And that was a quick wholesale deal for us. We literally just did that this past week. So again, these aren't huge numbers, right? I'm not telling you, oh, we made 500 grand, but like 5 grand here, 6 grand here, that really adds up, guys. So know that, again, this can be a great little additional stream to whatever you're doing. Or if you're just starting and you're saying, oh, I'm a little nervous about jumping into houses, this is a great entry level point. Now, this is a case study of an actual home we fixed and flipped. This was on the MLS. And what's interesting with mobile homes and houses in general, I feel like they always tell a story, but it's the same, like 5 different stories, right? Like I bought this for my kids and they ripped it up. You know, I did this and this happened. I was a landlord and I let them not pay rent and then they tore the place to shreds. So when I saw this home actually on the MLS, and then I had my agent show me and I was like, oh, this is definitely a landlord situation. Like I didn't even ask and I just knew. And sure enough, it was a sweet little grandmother bought all cash this home for her granddaughter, moved her granddaughter in, and her grandmother had a boyfriend and it went bad and they destroyed the home. So this poor little woman, I didn't know this whole story until we got to closing. She told me all of this, but based on the numbers and the condition it was in, it wasn't horrible, but it was bad. Like they had animals and pets in there. And the thing about manufactured homes, guys, if you don't know this, underneath the floor, there's particle board. And a lot of these older homes, it just absorbs anything. So wetness, that's why when you walk a mobile home, you'll see there's a lot of soft spots in the home. It's almost like instead of plywood, it's particle board underneath. They used to make them kind of cheap. They've improved it along the way. But once water hits that or animal urine, it just like disintegrates. So this house had a lot of subfloor issues. So when I went in and looked at it, it was on the MLS for 50,000. And I was like, you know, we got to get it lower. Like the numbers kind of made sense then, but I was like, okay, let's go in lower. So I think I went in around 35.5 on this one. So let's just test the waters, right? You got to go in low because you can't go in too high because you can't go back down once you go up. So it's like, let's just start extremely low. The worst they can say is no. And she came back a little higher, like in the 40s. And we ended up agreeing to 37,000. So it was a heck of a deal because I had pulled comps in there and things were selling. That was a little smaller than most of the manufactured homes. And again, guys, this is a real piece of property. So this had been detitled. It's actually attached to the ground. So I was able to sell this on a Fannie Mae loan for FHA financing. So this was cool. This opened my buyer pool really big. So I knew a couple of things about this area. This is kind of how I target my manufactured homes I flip for higher prices. I look for the best school district. And when I look for that school district, I say, oh, single family homes are starting 150. Not everybody can afford 150, but somebody can probably afford 110, but they want their kids in that school district. So if I make this home really nice, like a house, I know it'll sell. And that's exactly what happened. It was a single dad with 3 kids and wanted to be in that school district. So the comps looked, I felt safe with 110. I felt like, you know, maybe I can get more, but I like to play it safe. So anyway, we went in and we remodeled the home. Okay. So our budget was 30,000. And as you go in, you'll see like what's cool about these homes is like all the vanities, all the kitchen cabinets, I use Lowe's in stock. Okay. Or Home Depot, whichever one you prefer. My preference is Lowe's. and I buy everything and I keep it all the same. I don't recreate the wheel, right? Like there's no reason to go out and be like, it's a business. I have a system. I have the same items. Plus I know how much those items cost. So when I go in these manufactured homes, this is a double wide. You can see that seam across the middle. It's so closed off. For some reason, they make these kitchens with like the big island, but they're like super awkward. They don't make sense. And nowadays, everyone wants what? An open floor plan. It's so funny to me. Everybody wants a house built in like 1920 because they like the old character, but then they want an open floor plan. And I'm like, those two things don't even go together. But in my mind, I know that's what people want. So I'm like, how can I make this look awesome? So you can see the bathroom was just dingy and gross. And I put 2 cheap new Lowe's vanities, nice open mirrors, staging. I always stage our homes. Now on the showers, we just sprayed them. We have a guy that sprays all of our tile. That's what he did in there. And that's the after of the kitchen. Can you believe that? Like you look at that and it's like, whoa, and stainless steel appliances, right? Like you go, ooh, it looks so nice, but it really does. So what was cool about this is when we market it on the MLS, obviously we have to market to manufacturer or mobile home. But what's cool about this is we show the first picture of the inside and people in their mind are like, oh, it's a house before they even see manufactured home. So they're like, oh my gosh, this house is so nice and it's only 110. And then they're like, oh, it's a manufactured home. Well, let's go look at it anyway, right? So that's, exactly how we end up selling it. Now, this one was a similar story, same good school district. If you look to the left of this home, you can see there's an actual single family home in the background. There were 2 brand new construction single family homes built in this neighborhood. So it was predominantly manufactured homes, but then some new homes mixed in. Funny enough, one of my best friends and his wife are also husband-wife real estate investor team and own a brokerage. This was his listing. Now you're thinking, why in the heck would he have not bought this and done it himself? He's like, oh yeah, I don't like mobile homes. I don't do those. I'm like, you don't like to make money? That's so weird to me, but whatever. Okay, I'll make the money. So you guys put in the offer. So this house, I asked him, I said, I know you can't tell me because you represent the seller, but do you think he'd take 50,000? He's like, I'm just going to tell you, throw in an offer. 50,000 sounds good. I said, okay, that gives me the indicator he might take it. So it was listed on the market for $69,900. Guys, it smelled like cat urine so bad. I've only bought 2 houses in my life that smelled like cat urine that bad. This was the second one. The first one, I was pregnant with my first son, and it was the worst experience of my life because it smelled so bad. I was pregnant and I could smell everything, and we could never get rid of the smell. So I vowed to never buy a home, but because it was a manufactured home and it's off the ground, I knew we could rip the subfloors out and kilt it and it would be good. And it was, so we ended up buying that for $50,000 and the renovation budget was $30,000. Now this home, I'm hoping I don't know if I have a before picture of it, but I'll tell you about this. So on these manufactured homes, there's mobile home skirting is what they call it, that goes around the bottom. And I felt like the skirting kind of diminished the look of it and made it look cheap. So we actually got our brick mason to brick the bottom of the manufactured home. So at this time, that was probably $6,500. That was pretty pricey, but it made the house look like a house so much better. So it was worth it. I could have probably not done that and it would have been fine. And you don't have to do that again to get financing. Again, this is real property. It's been detitled. Now that's the kitchen. What's interesting about this home, it had 2 living areas, but this kitchen divided it up and made it kind of awkward. So we went in and pulled that out. Can you believe that? But what's cool, guys, when you look at this, it's the same as the other house, right? There's nothing different. Same countertops, same cabinets, same paint, same floors. We do exact same thing. But just look how much that opens it up. And that really, if you were to look at this, you would say oh, this looks like a house, right? And that's the look I'm going for. I don't want it to look mobile because when people think of a manufactured or mobile home, it devalues in their mind. But the reality is I just actually came across an article that said mobile homes are appreciating more than ever. And it's crazy because this same manufactured home, guys, that we sold for $125, these houses right now in this market, this thing probably is comping out at about $200,000. That's how much it's gone up in the last couple of years. So no, it's still affordable. It's still very high. Now, what I think is hilarious about this picture, number one, on the front of the two things. One, if you look in the mirror on the left, that's actually my friend's wife taking a picture. Like, they didn't even care enough to really take that professional pictures. She's in it. This is what was on the MLS. But then also there's carpet around the hot tub. Like, why in the world would you ever put carpet around the hot tub? That's insane. But if you go to this next shot, look how awesome that looks, right? Same tub, we just sprayed it. We took the carpet off. We changed out the vanities and voila, right? And you're able to also rehab these for much less. That's what I like. And again, the permitting, you don't have to permit because you're not taking out structural walls and all this stuff. It's just easier to get in and renovate these. You can do it in a much faster time period. So there's the picture with the brick underpinning. So that was the cheap kind of underpinning, and you see how much better the brick looks. And then we freshened up the deck. Like, everything about this just looked like a whole new home. I mean, like, literally when I pulled up, I was like, oh my, the neighbors are like, oh my gosh, it looks so good over here, you know? So that's really cool when you look at the potential of what you can do. And just going in and painting the shutters. We had a new roof. The roof is shingled, so just like a house, same thing. Now what's cool is, like, I've always coached and I love coaching, is what my passion is, but I've helped several people because they know I do manufactured homes in different states that are friends. So this is my good friend, Jenna. She calls me and she's like, Christy, I've heard you talk about these mobile homes forever. Like, I had this lead. Her lead was really cool because it was her contractor. So her contractor said, listen, I don't really want to sell this because it's a family home, but it's in a great area. I just don't want to deal with tenants. So what she ended up doing was a strategy called rental arbitrage. She basically said, hey, Mr. Contractor, I'll pay you. I think her payment to him, if I remember correctly, is $700 a month on this, $700 or $800. But I researched the numbers to run it on Airbnb and actually short-term rent it. And she's making around $3,000 a month on this thing. So that $3,000 of something she never bought, she was able to pay him I think it's actually closer to $800 on, and cash flow that thing, which is a really cool strategy. So we walked through all the steps of doing that. So don't think you just have to rent these. Don't think, oh yeah, maybe I can flip them or wholesale them. You can actually Airbnb these. And if you look closer to the mountains in North Carolina, a lot of people are buying them and they're a lot cheaper than houses. And again, they're as structurally sound, if not better, sometimes than some old dingy houses. So keep that in your mind as you're coming across things. This is my good friend, Joanna Anderson. She's out of Charlotte. She actually had a deal she bought subject to. It was a family member. Her nephew was losing his home. He was behind in payments. She actually ended up picking up this home for, I believe, what the payoff was, and it was right around like $38,000. She ended up flipping this thing and making close to $60,000 on it, which was super cool. So like this one was on, I think, like a couple of acres. It's out in a rural area outside of Charlotte. But again, that's where people, the flow of people after COVID, people are going back to finding acreage and land and doing. So I was able to kind of help her with this. It was funny because along the way, she would call me with like different weird questions like, oh my gosh, when you sell a manufactured home on financing, it has to be tied down. It has to be retrofit, and you have to get a certificate to tie it down a certain way, and that has to be approved and passed. She calls me like 4 days before closing, and she's like, how do I know if this thing's retrofit? And I was like, girl, you didn't check that out? She's like, I had no clue. So we had to kind of backtrack. I was like, it's not a big deal. Here's what you have to do. But again, there's certain nuances that you need to know. But she made as much on this as she was making on some of her single family homes, which is super cool with a lot less effort. Now, this is my good friend Ammon. He is out of Arizona. He moved there, and cannot think of the area. It'll come to me. Anyway, it's more of like a retiree area. He did like a land home deal, a bunch of land homes. He bought a big parcel of land and he started dividing it off and putting brand new homes on it. And this was all going on during COVID. So everybody was moving out of California to Arizona and, Idaho and all these different places. He was making a killing on these. But what was cool is he was learning about the land, like how many acres could I divide? Do I have to put septic on this? What permits do I have to have? He was buying brand new homes from the mobile home dealers and then placing them on the land. So he was able to create like this whole different strategy. So what's cool, and maybe that's what I love most about manufactured homes, it's not like single family homes, you know, it's kind of one way. The house is there, I'm not really going to move it. I just have to fix it up and make it look great. This is like a hybrid model where you can do a lot of different things with it and make different ways of income, which is kind of cool. So that's all. Hopefully I finish up kind of in the amount of time I needed to, but this is my website. You can go to it. There's more information on there about manufactured homes and the mobile home course that I went through that tells about how to invest and do, but ChristyDuckett.com.
Awesome, Christy. Thank you so much. That was excellent.
You're welcome.
So does anybody have any questions for Christy while we have her on here for a minute? Anybody?
We had a few in the chat earlier. 1 second here. Let's bring those up and let's see what we got. Jennifer Pertil said, question for Christy. I found many mobile home parks in PA. However, they do not allow a non-owner occupant to purchase. I cannot purchase, renovate, and rent. Any advice? Have you come across this a lot over the years?
Yes. Hey, Jennifer. Good to see you. I have. Well, I guess here's a question. Will they allow you at all to owner finance them, or have you asked them that? Will they do like an owner finance if you were to purchase them yourself and then owner finance them on the back end? Will they allow that to happen? That's the only way I found to get outside of that. Now, I do know this, in the parks we buy here, if we wholesale them off to someone, generally that new investor buyer has to also qualify for the park. Like they have to run a background check. They don't necessarily care about credit, but they're looking at their finances because again, they're going to be renting that to someone to earn a financing them. So if they stop paying, they want to make sure they're capable, but some of those parks may let you owner finance. If not, there's not really much you can do.
Okay, good to know. And then Eve's got one quick question. Where can we learn more about you? I think we just answered that with the website. So go to our website, ChristyDuckett.com. ChristyDuckett.com/free is where you can get the free copy of the book, or, you know, you can come to our money.
That's what I was going to say.
There you go. You come to our money tank in South Carolina, or in Raleigh, North Carolina, which is your backyard. I mean, hey, your local area. And yeah, you can come with us. That is August 8th and 9th. Let me just double check myself here. Wow, August 4th and 5th. I was almost there. You can come with us and take a look at it. Let's see, we put the link in the thing here. Yeah, come and see Chrissy. She's gonna be one of our amazing speakers there as well. Yeah. Any other questions? And this is real estate that you don't really hear a lot about, because we always think flippers, we think like standard single family homes, and I think a lot of folks have this sort of mindset that, oh, mobile home parks, hey, they're lost. You know? Yeah. Let's see. Heard there was a big change of how well they are built. What year do you like them to be?
Oh, good question. So this is crazy. I actually, Noah and I just bought and we just sold. We had a duplex with a 1974. So we couldn't move it. It was grandfathered in on the land. And if we removed it, we couldn't move one back on it. It was a 74. We got that thing down to the walls and redid it. And it was like brand new. So the old ones don't even scare me. Sometimes I feel like they're better made because they're metal and they're so solid. Yeah, I mean, I think it's just the condition overall, like how bad is it? But again, you can almost rebuild anything with them. I mean, it's crazy. I sometimes feel like they're better than some of the single family homes I've seen. So nothing scares me. And I will tell you, with the new rules, they are being built so much better nowadays. So I think you can't go wrong. I mean, I'm in the South, maybe the cold temperatures up north might affect things differently, but nothing scares me on those.
Mm-hmm. When you started saying things like ripping up subfloor, I got a little twitch. So I'm thinking standard homes, not mobile. Yeah. Oh, Donna's got a question for you. So making a mobile home less mobile by adding stonework that doesn't cause issues down the road?
So good question. You know, it's funny. I just read an article about this. So no, not necessarily. If it's a deed title mobile home that's on the land and it's really going to stay there and it's being considered real property, stoning the bottom or bricking it because you're not going to move it probably isn't an issue. If it's in a park and it's on a title, I wouldn't do that, right? I would just put the skirting around it. But I did read an article most recently that someone, and this is in the South because we have such humid temperatures, they said almost putting the brick on the bottom sometimes can cause a lot of moisture to sit underneath and cause problems in the subfloor. So be cautious about doing that because of our high climate humidity.
Cool. Got another one from Aristides. I hope I got that right. Sorry. Is any contractor can do mobile homes? And I think he was asking, can any one of them do it, or is it only special ones that do only mobile homes?
Yes, actually any contractor can. What I would tell you is I would almost look for like a glorified handyman. Like I have a guy that can do everything and he's amazing. And it's like, I'm not going to pay the contractor price because he's not removing load bearing walls and all these things I have to worry about. So I almost find like a top-notch GC, and then like that gets you around paying the price of a, or a top-notch handyman versus a GC. Saves you money.
I just always have to ask, because you just the trigger word there with, load bearing wall. Is that, besides the outside structure, is that even a thing inside?
It's not really like what's funny, Noah, because Noah, listen, guys, I have to tell you, when I first met Noah, he thought I was crazy. He's like, you're buying manufactured homes. And now he's like, how much are you getting for that one? I was like, yeah, okay, listen to your wife. She knows. So what's really funny is we had one that had like a foundation issue, and really it was from the bathroom to the bedroom. There was just like kind of a sink in the wall. Now, if that happened on a house, you're spending easily. When you hear foundation issue, $6,000 minimum. It doesn't even matter what it is. You're getting a pier or they're doing something. Even if they don't do anything, they're telling you they are. Well, on the mobile home, it was like $600. I'm like, what did you even do? And it was back up. I was like, okay, that's good. So that's what I'll tell you about that. The inspections on those things when you sell them and buy them is so minimal and ridiculous, because it's almost like people don't even take them seriously. And I'm like, okay, these are way cheaper. Like I would do them all the time, honestly. Somehow single family homes just keep coming my way. I don't know.
I was gonna say, you said foundation issue. It's another trigger word.
Same. I always tell Noah, maybe we should start a foundation company. It just seems like you're just gonna make money doing that.
Quick story. The very first showing I ever went to when I had just gotten my real estate license, I went to a home built in 2000, and part of the foundation was outside, and I could see inside the basement through it. And so we didn't buy that house. big hole right in the basement.
Listen, we have one like that, which we did buy, but it was a $24,000 foundation issue. I mean, we bought it really low, so it made sense, but man, it was still scary. I kept asking them, are you sure when you put this in, the whole thing's not going to collapse? Like, are you positive?
So not a problem with the mobile home. So always good. Awesome. So you guys have, let's see. Oh, Meredith said she renovated one in Northern Michigan. Great project. Did the same, used a handyman. Good. Awesome.
Smart.
Cool. Did I miss anyone? Any more questions on this wonderful, very overlooked subsection of real estate?
Yeah, tomorrow everyone's going to be driving and be like, I remember that trailer park. I'm going to take an extra loop. Sure.
Look at it in a totally different light. Yeah. No, just curiosity where you guys are at. Do you guys see more mobile home parks or more trailer home parks? Because we have more trailer home parks. We got a couple of mobile homes, mostly trailers.
It's like a combo, but yes, most trailer. I would say the same. Like, but what's interesting within our area, gosh, I moved to Columbia in 2007, and the amount of hedge funds that have bought a lot of those trailer parks and turned them around, they're so much nicer now. I mean, I'd say the bulk, a lot of the older baby boomers that own the mobile home parks, unfortunately, are, it was a husband-wife team. One passed away. They couldn't maintain it. And a lot of the hedge funds have come in and bought them, but the hedge funds have cleaned them up very nice. So we're seeing like more of the manufactured parks now, it seems.
Nice. And Aristides asks, can we Airbnb them?
Good question. If it's in a park, as long as the park will allow you to, those are questions you want to ask the park. Are we allowed to short-term rent them, right? Like Jennifer said, in Pennsylvania, they've kind of locked down a lot of that and you can't. But if it is a home on land, and you own the land and it's a home just like real property, that's going to apply the same as a single family home. Is there HOA? Will they allow you to do that? If not, then absolutely you can.
Okay. And is that something you see at all? I mean, is that a thing? Airbnb mobile homes?
And you're starting to see it, like, especially in North Carolina and the mountains, like around Asheville and those areas. You're seeing a lot of people buying them because they're affordable. I mean, you can't buy a house now below 700,000 there. And it's like, well, you can't short-term rent that. You're not even going to make the money. So people are starting to go to manufactured homes as an alternative.
That's interesting. And I never would think to watch for one like an Airbnb and like, hey, let me buy this mobile home and Airbnb. Just never.
Well, and listen, this
fascinates me.
There. So that duplex Noah and I sold with the old home, the 72 model. What's funny, we were seeing a shortage of multi-units in our area. And we owned it and it was great cash flow, but I said, you know what, let's just list it and see if someone will buy it. We had a 1031 exchange buyer come in and we met him at closing, and he was a doctor and he was hilarious. So he moved from Seattle and he said, you know what? Like, I saw the listing and I was like, ugh, a mobile home. He goes, but I went in that thing and it was so nice. And I was laughing and I'm like, I know. And I'm like, the taxes are way cheaper. I didn't even talk about that. You know, the cash flow is as good as a house. So he's like, it completely changed my mind. He's like, I never would have thought that. And his wife was like, that's the first mobile home I went in. I'm like, well, you're lucky because they usually don't look like that.
Yeah, that's a little different. Interesting about the 1031 exchanges on it. I just, again, didn't even think about doing a 1031 exchange on a mobile home.
Yes. And a lot of people are coming and buying parks. So I'm starting to see more of that. So I'm like, great. Okay, this is the trend, right?
Huh. Interesting. All right. What is the year? What was the year made that HUD Finance?
Yes. So it was June 15th, which also happens to be Noah's birthday, which is funny. That's why it's easy to remember. June 15th, 1976.
Got it. Cool.
Good job, Tess. You listen. It took a note.
Nice. Exactly. Perfect. Well, thank you so much. Christy. Really appreciate it. It's always wonderful to hear about the different new and creative things. We're used to hearing about single family homes, multis, duplexes, things like that. Standard real estate, great way to make money on real estate. But I love this creative stuff, like, buying mobile homes and forklifts. The interesting stuff that we do. That's the part that I really love the most about it. So thank you so much for coming tonight. I really appreciate it. And thanks for joining us.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much.
Happy anniversary, Christy.
Yes, thank you. Happy anniversary.
No, I hope you guys have a great night, and congrats on the house. I know moving is a pain in the butt, but Noah acts like it's your forever home. So champagne's on ice. There you go.
I literally told Noah, you'll have to wheel me out of this home. We're never leaving.
Yeah. That's awesome. I can't wait to see it. I'll have to come check it out during the next re-up.
Awesome.
So I put some links in the chat box for everybody. So if anybody wants to come hang out with Christy, myself, Andrew, Noah, and the crew, I'm sure Tess, Colleen, I'm just looking at the screen who's on. I think Eve said she's going to come out, but we're going to be, we'll be at the re-up. So Noah and Christy put on an event in Columbia, South Carolina, the last weekend of July. And then the Money Tank in Raleigh will be the following Friday, Saturday. So if you guys want to join us for those, it'd be awesome. And then we have the virtual 3-day coming up in a couple weeks also. So just some things happening, but appreciate everybody being here tonight. Andrew, thanks for taking the reins and kind of helping host the call a little bit. I've been under the weather the last couple of days. So hope everybody's having a great week and great month and got some value out of tonight's training. I thought it was awesome. Appreciate Bob and Scott earlier. Christy, you are a legend. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Guys, have a great night. We will see everybody soon.
Absolutely.
Cheers, guys. Bye.
Cheers.